literally, but he was with me, and I feel very privileged to be with Laurie again at this point. I want to, before I say anything else, say a big thank you to you, Denise, for making this so beautiful. And it's more than just a bunch of flowers, isn't it? Because it's something ongoing. And I think that's very fitting for somebody like Laurie, because he was ongoing in all that he was doing. He didn't finish at one thing and so that's it. He kept on to different projects. And I thought about what I could say about this, and two things. One is, how many people would merit people collecting money for them? You know, whether it's for a birthday party, anything, but a gravestone. I think it's quite a remarkable thing that we've actually had people contribute to make this day happen. And then I thought, well, of course he was a very special person. That's why people were happy to contribute. But then I think the people stood here today are the gravestone. It's you that's made this happen. And a gravestone will say the name, maybe a nice piece about that person, the length of time they've lived, maybe a Bible quotation or a quotation from a poem. It may say a little, it may say a lot, but today this gravestone is speaking thousands of words, because it's you people that have made this. You are his gravestone. You are the people that's made him be a man to be remembered, and I think you continue to do so. So I feel very grateful that I can be here to be part of you, this living gravestone. And I'd now like to ask those that wish to share, and I know that Charlotte has some really interesting things to say, and after Charlotte, anyone would like to speak, please do so. Thank you. Yes, I'm fine.
I'm delighted that we've been in contact with Laurie's family in Australia. Laurie had a sister. He also had 2 children, and his son Mark and his sister Heather Ray also wanted to have an input and have written eulogies for this day. Eulogy, My Brother, Valet Laurie Stewart Anne Burton, by Heather Ray. Laurie and I were named by our Scottish-born mother, one of 4 siblings, who was an exceptionally talented lady in every sense. We are only 15 months apart in age. He was my older playmate, childhood mentor and best mate, as I followed him everywhere, his shadow. Dad was one of 11 children, a stonemason by trade, very athletic, who as a teenager increased his age to join the Australian Light Horse Brigade, but was never posted outside Australia. Dad was very good at various projects and was always working. Our parents were both extremely hard-working people. Growing up, we lived an almost completely sustainable lifestyle on our parents' mini farm, with a Jersey cow for milk, butter, cream, chooks for eggs, beehive for honey, 30 different species of fruit trees, various vegetable, herb and flower gardens, and a large fish pond. Lastly, a clay-topped tennis court, which was totally unheard of during the post-Depression era. Family living was the first priority. The family tennis team, named Balmoral, consisted of Mum, Dad, Laurie and myself. We were also a musical family. Mum, piano, Dad, violin, Laurie, clarinet, and Heather, piano, ballet and tap dance. So many, many memories, the various animals he had, to timing the homing pigeons after walking them miles away, to blackberry picking, both having more stains on our faces than the half-empty baskets, but yum, yum, the most beautiful jam and dessert treats that followed these escapades. All in all, on reflection, an enviable childhood, even though we were not wealthy. It was self-achieved by diligent hard work. Growing up, the world was a different place, much more disciplined, respectful and innocent in many ways. Laurie showed his cleverness early on, of which I was in total awe. Always into reading numerous books, plus a phenomenal photographic memory. Scholastically, he shone brilliantly. Age 9, he was upgraded to a 12-year-old's class. Later in his schooling, winning 3 scholarships to 3 different highly prestigious schools, plus a bursary education. His birthday, April the 1st, is April Fool's Day, a constant source of amusement, but he never suffered fools gladly. Most fortunately, Mark has inherited many of his attributes. Always your loving sister, Heather Ray. And then Mark's eulogy to his father. I remember my father, Laurie Anning Burton. My first memory was at a very young age, perhaps 2 or 3, definitely at the age when I had to reach up and barely touch the top of the kitchen bench. I awoke early one morning in our family home in Queensland to hear an unusual sound. Moo! Moo! I went into the kitchen and could hear it again. Moo! Moo! In the backyard. I reached up to the top of the kitchen bench and hauled myself up to peer out of the window, and I saw cows, lots of cows, and they were eating the garden. So I counted the cows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, there were 8 cows in the backyard eating Mum's roses. Sensing something was wrong, I eased myself down and toddled with purpose into my parents' bedroom. I shook Dad until he stirred and proclaimed, "There's 8 cows in the backyard." He said, "I don't believe you," and pulled the covers up. Crestfallen, I thought that the issue at hand was that he thought I couldn't count to 8. I went back into the kitchen, reached up to the top of the kitchen bench, climbed up again and started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, there were 8 cows in the backyard. Sure of my facts, I let myself down and marched into Laurie's bedroom and shook him again. I said to my father, "There are definitely 8 cows in the backyard." From there, my memory is hazy, other than when snakes or a neighbour's horses or other problems occurred around the house. I was left to keep an eye on the situation whilst the adults got other adults to help. This story must have happened in 1960, 1961. As a family, we moved back to Sydney, the birthplace of Laurie and my mother Claire, in 1963. I remember my father and I walking along the boardwalk at our local Maroubra beach in 1964, looking down at the sun-tanned teenagers below us with their radios blaring the Rolling Stones under the boardwalk. Thank you for indulging in these few memories. In 1964, the memories of my father cease. Marital separation in those years was rare. I can only guess the reasons why Laurie changed his name and moved to the other side of the planet. For my part, I've never held any grudges or blame. The experience only made me stronger. In 1964, I was told, "Now you're the man of the family," which meant I grew up very quickly. If I had known that Dad was in the UK during 1991-92, I would have looked him up. I was doing my master's degree there whilst working for Reuters as a photojournalist. By all accounts, we would have had some interesting discussion about my work on the G7 Economic Summit and covering the fall of the USSR. Even though we barely knew each other, our lives have had some amazing parallels, not the least our proactive work for social justice on the left of politics. Laurie's sister Heather and I debated at length about whether I should make the journey to be here with you today. Alas, my own health issues put this out of my reach at present. Heather and I agree that Laurie well and truly found himself and came into his own at Knutsford. From what we've seen, Laurie had some great friends there, and even those across the political divide have extended their respect for the man. For this, we are very grateful. Special mention and thanks to Laurie's good friends, Mabs and Brian, Denise and John, Judy, Charlotte, Stuart Gardner, James Wilson and his friends at The Guardian. Good friends who have gone beyond any obligations in helping us unravel the enigma that was Laurie Stuart Anning Burton. Like father, like son, Mark Anning. It has been my absolute pleasure to represent the family in Australia. Thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you, Charlotte. And I remember so clearly the battle that Laurie had. He lived at a cottage near Sudlow Farm, and with the rabbits, because at that point in his life he'd become really keen on gardening, and he was growing all these beautiful flowers, and then the rabbits would just come and eat all the blossoms. and I can remember clearly him talking about digging trenches and putting things in the trenches so the rabbits couldn't come underneath. And it's a bit of natural justice, cows and the rabbits. Will anyone else?
Yeah, I'll say so, definitely. Let's take some station. Laurie and I sat on different sides of the political spectrum, but there is always a meeting of minds over coffee at Cranford, and hours of debates, and clients that I have left waiting and waiting so we can rattle out a specific point, whether or not I was right, or whether or not he was right, or I was wrong, or he was wrong. It actually didn't matter. It was the fact that both of us were passionate about the things we did. And I think that someone like Laurie continues to inspire me through what I do in Knutsford, because I've been here now 15 years and I've been committing time and resources, and I engage with as many things as I can, and I carry that with me. And I was quite sad when he died, because I lost my my friction point, the guy that I could always say, what do you think to that, and get an opinion and get actually an idea to something, and it would always be a really well balanced thing. And he gave me the bull in the china shop theory about dealing with town council. He says you can't go steaming straight in there. You've got to take it slowly. Take your time. You know, don't. There's a process there. You need to understand the process. And as a business person, I don't like processes. I like results. He says if you want results, you've got to take your time. So from that, I carry that with me now. The fact that I have a vested interest in my town and its people and what goes on there. And I'm carrying these things that are actually helping me in business as well, regardless of whether we were opposing forces and so forth. So I have to say, it's lovely to see so many people here, and a fantastic eulogy to be heard. And it's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.